peeps out in YouTube land. We are going to do something today a little bit different. We are going to make bean and bacon soup homemade. What you get when you buy the canned at the store tastes pretty good, but trust me, it tastes much better when you do it yourself. And especially when you put this in as well as the bacon. But I know you know how to clean beans. We've showed you before. But we thought instead of having you go to another area to find out, we'd just show you again. And if you do it this way, it takes just a couple of minutes. My mama did it this way. She would go like this, and she'd look again doing it this way, and again, and she would find any bad bean in there. But it took 45 minutes to look the beans. This way, it only takes about 2 minutes. Great. But the Hearst brand beans normally doesn't have very many bad ones in it. This time there's a little bit more than normal. Most of the time, if you find 3 or 4, you've found a lot. But these were overlooked a bunch, wasn't they? And then we're going to wash them in the sink. And we're going to put them in this kettle and add water to about the bottom of this brad. And we're going to boil them hard for about half an hour. And we will be back with you as soon as we get that done. Oh, and another thing, and I'd forgotten to mention this, we're going to use a stick of butter rather than using lard in it. It gives it a much better taste. And how you like the back of my shirt, peeps? I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I love you either way. But I thought this was the funniest shirt I ever saw in my life. Okay. And I've gotten so many laughs and compliments about it. But I've got family members who are Republican and family members who are Democrat now still love me and get a kick out of my shirt. And we are going to put this much salt in. Now, I do not measure my salt. I go by what is in my palm. And I do not over salt, because you can salt it at the table if it's not salty enough, and this won't be. But you can't take the salt out. Once you've got it in there, it's in there. So we will actually be back when this comes to a boil for 45 minutes, and then we'll show you how we do the rest of it. We are getting ready to dice up 1 onion, maybe 2. It's just according to how much it makes. And she's using our little
handy dandy chopper.
Handy dandy one. That's supposed to be a part. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I cut it.
Yeah, it just didn't quite go all the way through.
It just didn't quite cut it good enough, did it? We love this thing. This is the best thing I ever invested in. It's a food processor, but it doesn't require electricity. And I love my kitchen gadgets. that's all I ever want for birthdays and Christmas and Valentine's Day is food. Is something to do with kitchen gadgets. Now, I need this. Now, our beans are about 2/3 done, and I was going to do that instead of setting it there. And this probably is about a cup of diced onion. You want to put it in early enough, which it's about an hour probably till I get it done. But you want to put it in early enough that it cooks into it real good. And then she's getting out the other good ingredient that goes in with bacon soup, and that's the bacon. And we never, ever shortchange it when it comes to bacon. There you go. I will use a measuring cup for this because I don't know how much is in here. It's been opened and a little bit's been used. Okay. It's going to be over a cup. But you can't overdo it with the bacon, peeps. Let's stir that good. I don't think it'd hurt to put the rest in, do you? We're gonna put plenty of bacon in. We love bacon, don't we, Phyllis?
Never say no to bacon.
No. Unless it's old. If it tastes old, then we might say no. I bought some at a store. I won't name which store it is, but bought some at a store, and it was old tasting, and we just ended up feeding it to the dogs. So it's 2 cups bacon bits for one small bag of beans. Oh, and it's looking pretty. Show them that. Oh, it's looking pretty. Now we got to add just a wee bit of water to it so we can let it boil for about another 45 minutes. But it's looking absolutely great and it smells great. So I think we done a scald on this one. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water. There. You want it to stay above your beans. And it can boil. We've got it on medium heat. And in 45 minutes, we're going to have some good bean with bacon soup, people. Okay, peeps, we're back. This bowl contains a 1/2 cup of flour, a cup of cornmeal, and 1/4 cup of powdered milk. And a whole lot of guesswork, I'm just guessing. And we're melting a stick of butter in the cast iron skillet. Once it gets good and hot, we'll be mixing it into this. But you want your pan to be piping hot or it can stick. So I just add the water as I stir. That way I don't get too little or too much. I kind of like doing it under the running water. And that way it makes it easier to gauge. It's probably a little over 1/2 cup of water. But I like getting it nice and thick. Because that way when you put in the melted butter, you've not gotten it too thin. And I use a whole stick, which is a half a cup. But I like my cornbread to be good and buttery. Better watch out, girl. She does stuff like this, and safety is the first thing in my kitchen, and she knows it. I consider safety the top priority in my kitchen, and she knows better than put her hand in a skillet. But it takes a minute to do this, and I've got my oven preheated on 450. I mean, you have to go by the oven you're using. Gas and electric are totally different, and mine's gas, which is the best in my opinion, but I could be wrong. Okay, we've got it melted. We just gotta make sure it's good and hot. It'll start popping and then we know. Right now it's just sitting there. Yeah, it might be hot enough to... Yeah, it's starting to pop. Pour it in here, baby. Safety first. Now put it back on that hot burner so that the skillet still stays hot. I like my cornbread to be good and buttery. Some people would prefer adding it afterwards. Me, I like getting it good and buttery and then maybe adding a little bit afterwards. Let me do this. The only bad thing about a whisk is the stuff gets caught in it. Put that in there. Okay, here we go, peeps. I'll let you scrape it because I can't do both. I don't know how I used to do this by myself when I was younger. Okay, now we're going to put this in there. It'll take probably a half an hour, and by that time our soup will be done. So we'll be back with you to show you the results of the cornbread and the soup. Okay, peeps. This is what my bean with bacon soup looks like. Is that not prettyful? And oh dear God, it smells so good and bacony. And as soon as the cornbread's done and Miss Tammy gets here, we'll do the tasting. Oh, the cornbread is done. Hold on a minute. Perfect cornbread, nice and thin and crispy. And what we're going to do is put some cornbread in the bottom of the bowl and then pour the bean soup over it. And I'll show you pretty much how I do it. Whoever come up with the fire around cornbread or square didn't know what they was talking about. My cornbread are round too. bone.
Yeah, I'm about half that size.
Give me your bone. I'm just like you, only I want the whole thing.
Half that size plus about half more.
And my cornbread ain't holding together good. I didn't have enough flour in it. That's the thing you run into when you're putting your flour and meal in and you're just guessing basically on the meal. Because I measured the flour, but I put a little bit more than twice the flour in cornmeal. So, but it's really good when you're eating soup.
I'm gonna add some more crumbs to mine too.
I told you it wasn't enough.
Well, just a few crumbs.
And when Nurse Tammy gets here, it'll all be ready for her.
Yeah, make sure you get plenty of juice because that cornbread will sop it all up.
Oh yeah, you can't get too much. Hand me your bowl. You want it over your butter and everything?
Yeah. Yeah, to help melt the butter.
Yeah, it will help do that. And I used to love bean with bacon soup from Campbell's, but when you make your own, it's so much better. And we will be back as soon as Nurse Tammy gets here. What happened?
I don't know. I didn't see.
But I heard it, didn't you?
I just heard the.
I think my kitchen is haunted. But we will return.
Oh, she should be here any minute.
Yep. And as soon as she gets here, she can tell you how good it is. Okay, peeps, our royal taste tester has arrived.
Oh,
Moment of truth. The cornbread is underneath your feet.
and I can smell it from out there when you walk up the sidewalk.
And it is so good. It smells so good.
What, ham and beans or bacon and beans or
It's
what?
bean and bacon soup is what I call it. It's got onion in it, bacon, and a ham packet.
It's good.
Is that not delicious?
The
It's
flavor.
better than Campbell's. I'm sorry, Campbell's. If any of you people or any of your reps are watching, sorry about you.
That
You
flavor's
need to
good.
copy my recipe.
Where's that flavor coming from? It's so good.
It's got butter, onion, bacon, and a ham packet, and
And
water, and salt.
Mm.
We will be back next week,
Yeah.
same time and channel. Love y'all.